Job searching is a full-time job. You spend hours finding the job description, trying to figure out what the interviewers really want, and then preparing for those interviews, 4, 5, 6 interviews. It's so much work. Like, oh my gosh. When I was looking for my last role, I spent so much time bringing up articles, listening to podcasts, and reading through job descriptions so I could really understand not only what the job was asking for, but the state of the industry. So when I walked into interviews, I would be prepared to actually talk confidently. And it paid off, but it took a lot of work. And that is why I'm really excited to share this tool with you, because it'll save you hours of time, of stress, of what's going on. So I spent hours learning how to use Google Notebooks LM to turn it into the ultimate job hunt strategist for you. Throughout this video, I'll be giving you some quick knowledge checks to make sure you're ready to use these tools right away as well. But we'll walk through every single thing so you are confident and you can use this as your AI career strategist and get your job. Before we even get into the exact ways that we're going to use this tool, what even is Notebook LM? To get through that, let us navigate to the website. So you can always just go straight to Google and type in Notebook LM, like I did here in this search bar. And as you can see, when you put it in, what is similar? Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, right? So it's another AI tool, it's another LLM you can use, but it's a little bit more advanced. So let's actually click into it. So when you click here, right away, it tells you what it is, right? It is a tool to help you understand anything. And in this case, we are trying and we will understand the job search process. It says it's your research and thinking partner, grounded in the information you trust, built with the latest Gemini models. Now, 2 things here. Grounded in the information that you trust. This is really important because one of the major flaws of LLMs like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, DeepSeek, Grok is that it hallucinates. Even though maybe its memory stops in 2023, because it doesn't know, it just makes stuff up. And the next thing you know, it's talking about World War IV, and you're like, excuse me? Right? So when you use something like Notebook LM, especially when you're using it for something as important as your job interviews and you want to come across as competent, it's really, really good. And we'll see how that works in a second. It also says it's built with the latest Gemini models, and if you're not familiar, Gemini is Google's version of ChatGPT, Claude, etc. Okay, with that said, with us understanding that we're about to learn all these things, how to upload our own sources, how to get instant insights, see our sources, let us click into Try Notebook LM. Now, once you log in here, this is the interface that you're going to see. If you notice, it just went straight into Notebook LM. I have a Gmail account. So if you have a Gmail account, this will also be available to you. This is the free version. So as long as you have Gmail, you have access to this. Up here, you're going to see featured notebooks. Now, these are just notebooks that they are featuring, right? These are not things that you've created yet. You can now create your own notebook, or you can come down and select create a notebook here, which we will do. Before we start putting anything in, let's get familiar with what's on the screen. So what we're seeing here is, as we mentioned earlier, resources and grounding in those sources is what really makes Notebook LM magical. So how do you actually do that? First, you upload your sources, and these are all the different ways you can do it. You can pull from Google Drive. Now, this is really helpful in this context. If you need to upload your resume and it's in Google Drive, if you need to upload, maybe you're in the portion of your interview cycle where you're doing assessments, you can now upload maybe the assessment that they're giving you. You can upload the slides that you've created for the assessment, and then have Notebook LM walk you through and see if it's best practice before you deliver it. So it's a really clutch tool. Okay, so that's one option for you. The second option, this is where we're going to spend a lot of time today, is links. Adding website links and YouTube links. Now you might wonder, why is YouTube important? Well, one, Google owns YouTube, so of course they're gonna plug their own stuff. If you're going to work in tech, always understand dog fooding is, you need to use your own things, like duh. Okay, anyway, one of my biggest hacks when I'm applying for jobs is actually using Spotify and YouTube. When I'm looking for a new job and I identify the job title or the company I want to work for, I then go and Google interviews with the people at that company. So whoever's in the C-suite, I'm like, I want to hear what you have to say. Because if this person in the C-suite is giving an interview, they're going to share their wins. So AKA what's important to them, what do they praise? And you should also talk about that in your interview. They're also going to talk about their problems and what they're trying to solve. They might not frame it as problems because who's coming out and airing their dirty laundry, right? But they'll talk about the challenges that they're facing in the industry. They'll talk about the future and where they're trying to go. And that gives you a really good insight of, hey, when I'm writing my resume, these are the things that I want to signal that I know how to do. Now, when I get an interview, I need to show examples of how I've done this before. And that is how you get jobs in this day and age. So we'll go through that. And then last but not least, you can paste your own text, right? So if you have notes, if you have anything else that you just want to add to the source, you can do that as well. And then if we look to the top right over here, you see Discover Sources. This is a really neat tool to search the web. What makes it so magical is that it's only using the sources that you've put in. It's not searching the web, which means it's not hallucinating, which is so important. But if you do need to bring in some more stuff, you do have the option of searching the web and then selecting exactly which articles you want to bring in. So it's just not bringing in any information willy-nilly. That's not what we're doing here, okay? So that's really, really cool. We're just going to X out of this for a quick second and talk about the chat. So I won't spend too much time on here because you're familiar with chat boxes. If you've ever used any of the LLMs, you are very aware of this. Once we start uploading some sources, you will see that it'll summarize the sources for us up here. And then down here, it'll give us maybe some questions we want to ask. So that is very helpful. Now the magic of Google Notebook LM lives here. So once we start uploading our sources, you will be able to create your own podcast. So as we learned earlier, let me just hop back. Notebook LM is created for you to understand anything. So part of that is making sure that any type of learner that you are, they're able to meet you there. So that means that if you want to do some audio overview, you can do that. Create a podcast which synthesizes all the information you've put in, you can do that. You can also have a video overview, so it like kind of walks you through with visuals, so you have audio and visual. Mind maps, I love the mind map tool, we'll get through that. And then it'll also create reports for you, and that could be a brief, a study guide, a timeline. So this is all cool. Okay, now that we understand this, we can move on. But before we do that, let's do a quick knowledge check. Why is it important that Notebook LM only uses your sources? Take a second and respond in the comments. A, it's faster. B, it avoids making things up or hallucinates. And C, it searches the whole internet. If you selected B, it avoids making things up, that is correct, right? The goal of this is to make sure we're not hallucinating. Using only your resources, whether that's what you put in or whether you're searching, is really important. So as I mentioned, we're going to use this tool today to job search. You can use it for so many things. If you have a product in mind, if you have other research you need to do, but for now, we're going to use it to find a job. Now I've taken the liberty of already finding 3 jobs for us to use. So first we're going to select this job. It's a implementation. Then we're going to come here, select add. You're familiar with this screen. We'll select website and paste that in. And then I'll do that for several others. Okay, now we have 3 jobs. And just so it's easier for us to organize, we can also rename the source, and we can say this is a job description or a JD, so we know what we're looking at. Because we're going to keep coming back to this is a notebook, so we're just going to go up here and then change the name of this. So now that we have all the JDs updated, as you can see, it gives us a quick overview. And it tells us this text outlines a job posting for implementation. Well, it just gives us the first one, right? It hasn't updated the rest, but that is that. But also, when you're looking for jobs, especially if you're transitioning to a new job, maybe you want to understand exactly what the job does. Coursera does a really good job actually having all these different articles that talk about exactly what the job is and how you become one. So let's grab that link as well to add to our notebook. Okay. Now, as you see, none of these are telling us about salary ranges. And we know a really big part of looking for a job is also understand, are you paying what the industry is asking for? These jobs do give us the range for that specific job within the text, but maybe we just want to understand holistically, what is the industry paying? So we can go up here to discover and we can say, what is the industry benchmark salary for solutions architect? Submit. So once we do that, it takes a while to search the internet, but as you see, it's not adding anything right away. It lets us look. So we are going to just unselect so we're not getting everything and scroll through. This is from TikTok. I don't know if that's the most reputable. I don't love any of these, so I'm not going to add them. Maybe we can try again. Okay, we like pay scale. So we'll choose these two as reputable enough. If you wanted to search before you actually clicked, you can always just simply click on this and it'll take you to look at what's available before you add it. Okay, with that said, we've added these two. Let's import them. Okay, now they've been added to our resources. And then let's add a few more resources. Let us do an interview with the Chief Customer Officer. And this is important because that is who usually is running this function. So we want to know what's important to them. So let's add some YouTube links here. And as I mentioned earlier, this is something I do quite a lot. I like to listen to the people in the C-suite just to understand what is important to them. But now that you have this nifty tool, you might not need to spend an hour or two listening to these. I suggest that you do just so you have your own understanding, but you can easily add it in here. We've used 9 out of 50. On the free plan, you have up to 50 sources you can add, so that's quite a bit. Okay. So now that we have all 9 sources here, we can start actually asking questions. For example, if you're new to this role, you might want to know, what problems do SAs solve for companies? Why do they hire them? Solutions architects solve a variety of complex problems for companies, which is why organizations hire them to ensure successful technology implementation and customer satisfaction. And where did this information come from? If you click on it, 1, it came from the Coursera article that we put here, and 2, also from the Coursera article, right? So most of these are coming from the Coursera article. So it says, they act like a crucial bridge between business requirements and technical implementation, ensuring that technical design aligns with overall business goals, right? So you can also ask, so how do they make the company money, right? Because, or save time. So we know that most reasons why jobs hire people is to either save money or save time. So let's figure out exactly how this does that. And we're able to do all of this because we've given it a good chunk of information from sources that we trust. We have experts, we have C-suite folks, so it's like talking to your chief revenue officer, your chief customer success person. You're pulling straight from what they say they want. They play a pivotal role in the company's financial success by both generating revenue and saving costs, time and resources. And it tells you exactly how it does that, and then you can pinpoint to the conversation that tells you that, right? Wherever it is. Okay, now that we have that quick, besides the job description, what's a strategic source to upload to find a company's pain points? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love to. Okay, let's ask what I be asked. Okay, so we want to know, what interview questions might you be asked? It's going to test you on technical expertise and solution design, and ask you all these questions for that. Problem solving and strategic thinking. It gives you a really good map to really identify where you should practice and where that's coming from, right? And the reason why you're going to be asked these questions, they're pulling directly from the job descriptions. Okay, one more knowledge check. What's the main goal of generating potential interview questions like this? 1, to memorize answers, or 2, to practice your strategic thinking? Drop it in the chat, in the comments. If you selected B, you're correct. The goal isn't to just have a script, it's to practice thinking like a problem solver. Now let's go craft our perfect pitch. And we can do this by several things. 1, you can use the reports, right? So you can create a study guide for yourself, right? And this allows you to have a document that you're able to access and really read through and internalize what this job does. It's giving you a quiz, an answer key, essay format questions, right? So that's one way to go about this study guide. Let's also try and do a mind map. I love mind maps, and we're going to see why in a quick second. Okay, perfect. So we have our mind map now. So if you've never had a mind map before, it starts with like the root thing, the thing that you're interested in. So that's a solutions architect role. Then you have so many options you can explore. Definition and purpose, key responsibilities. I know you're worried about the salary, so let's click on salary expectations. And as you can see, the salary expectations opens up back to the guide so we can go through it, but let's remain in the mind map. When you click on salary expectations, if you click on a specific tab that doesn't have an arrow, it will take you back to the source. But if you want to find out more, you can click more and then see how did it come up with these answers, right? So if you're early in your career, you might get 133. If you're experienced, 151. So you know that if you're interviewing, these are your benchmarks as well. And then maybe you're thinking, okay, what do I do after this, right? There's no single path, so that's an option. And it gives you other starting points that you can think through. Wherever you are in your career journey, having a tool like this will really help you think through, what does this job mean for you? How can you do it effectively? What specific things can you drill down in? It's a really, really cool tool. So that is one way to actually use this tool. And you can download it if you would like to explore that more. Then, as I mentioned earlier, you can also create a podcast. So let's click Generate AI Podcast based on your sources. Now this takes some time, so let's give it about 5 minutes. Okay, and we are back. So in our time away, as you can see, this says 10 minutes ago. So it took maybe about 5 minutes to get this customer obsession in the AI era podcast going, and then another maybe 5 minutes to get this video overview. So let's listen to this podcast. Let's go.
So here's a question for you listening. What does it really mean when a company says it's customer centric? Is that just, a buzzword they throw around, or is it something deeper, more fundamental to how they actually operate?
Pretty cool, right? So love that they're sharing this, but I don't want that first. What I actually want, let me ask them. So we can select interactive mode. We have 2 hosts.
So here's a question for you.
Hey, before we even get into customer centric, I would love to just understand, what is a solutions architect and how can I excel in the role?
That is a fantastic question to kick us off. And actually, it fits perfectly.
Yeah, we were going to dive into the solutions architect role a bit later, but let's bring that up front.
Okay, let's unpack this. What exactly is a solutions architect?
At its core, a solutions architect is the person who creates the technical vision for solving a business problem.
They're like the master builder. They design the blueprint for the tech solution.
Exactly. They bridge the gap between what the business needs and what technology can deliver.
They outline all the phases and requirements. They're making sure the tech aligns with business goals.
On a day-to-day basis.
Isn't that pretty cool? And then if you stay on here, you can even interact with it and ask more specific questions. Now let's move over to the video overview. So in the video overview, it pretty much creates a PowerPoint for you. And let's play it real quick. And it's 5 minutes, so it's much shorter than the whole podcast.
We hear this term all the time, right? Customer centricity. It's everywhere. It's become a massive corporate buzzword. But what does it actually mean to bring that to life? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on that term and shine a spotlight on the one
Okay, let's jump
technical vision to solve a specific business problem. That's it. That's the job. They are the human bridge between what the business wants and what the technology can do. So, what does that really mean in plain English? Well, think of them as expert translators.
It really helps you go from what is this job, how do I even find the job, to creating a list of sources, the job descriptions, the interviews, the payment structures, and you can add so much more, right? Then it summarizes it all for you and allows you to ask all sorts of questions here to make sure that you are on the right page and you know what's happening. Then, because we all learn in different ways and we take information in differently, you can do an audio overview and have a whole podcast that you can even interact with. You have a video overview, which is 5 minutes of summarizing all of this with visuals. Then you have a mind map, so you can even dig deeper into what you want to learn. And then lastly, reports, where you can create a document, whether it's a briefing doc, a study guide, an FAQ, if you're the type of person who likes to print things out and read. I will say the biggest help to me when I was interviewing was actually printing things and like holding it, reading it, highlighting it. So this is really, really amazing. And I just want to add a quick comment here. So you can also take this, convert it to a source, right? So you just created all these questions and whatnot. You can convert it to a source and it adds it here. So it's a nice loop of you distilled the information that you needed, and now you've made it its own unique source that you can go through, which I think is pretty cool, and it also summarizes it for you. So with that said, I would love to hear from you. What is the single biggest takeaway from this process that you'll use in your next job application? Was it helpful? How was it helpful? Tell me all the things. So if you want me to do another video on that, let me know. If this video helped you, please subscribe and share it with someone else who is currently on the job hunt. I'm sure this will help them tremendously. All right, that's the full roadmap. From scattered research to strategic plan of attack, you're no longer just applying, you're solving their problems before you even walk in the door. This is how you get noticed. This is how your resume gets noticed. This is how your interviewer says, I can't wait to have this person on my team.